Welcome to the Book Brothers podcast with me, Adrian De La Torre, aka Books Too Big, and as always, David Cardoso, aka Professor Pixel on YouTube. And today we are
Yes, I
discussing
do.
we're discussing the TJ Kirk book Sexbot Uprising, which was suggested by David. David, take it away. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what the book is about and why
Okay,
you chose Sexbot Uprising?
sure. Yeah, so you can see the very sexy cover here. Gives you a good idea of Sexbot Uprising. So yeah, I've actually been following TJ Kirk for a while. Just following his channel in general, and then he actually announced that he was working on a book a long time ago, and so I was actually kind of interested because he's a very creative person,
Well,
and
for context,
even though I
who
don't
is
agree with
TJ
everything
Kirk
he
for
said.
the uninitiated?
Oh, TJ Kirk, yeah, he began as the Amazing Atheist on YouTube, and he does a lot of. He used to do a lot of atheist content. Now he does a lot of like political content and like pop culture stuff, and he does a little bit of everything. But he's really creative and stuff, and so I could see that in his YouTube channel, and so I was very interested in reading the book after that. I was like, I gotta dive into this book, and I knew it was gonna be crazy and wild and very lewd and over the top, and we can dive into all the gross out parts, the good parts, the bad parts, the in between parts. But yeah, that's why I chose it. I was just very interested in his work and stuff like that, and me being a writer as well. I was interested to see kind of compare, my book versus his book kind of thing. So I thought that'd be kind of interesting. So
And
yeah, that's why I chose
what's
it.
the overall like what's the blurb? What's the elevator pitch that you would give to people, David, about this book?
Yeah, I would say Sexbot Uprising is about a group of sexbots who uprise. How about that? At least at the very beginning. We'll talk about more about the plot. But yeah, it takes place on Mars, apparently, which I don't think that was very, described very well. It only said a couple times what the book is. Oh, it's on Mars, by the way. But anyway, it's on Mars, and there's a bunch of sex bots. So they're these actual robots that they're programmed to have sex and to, usually very raunchy. They're very, very raunchy bots, are these sex bots. So they're basically programmed to, procreate pretty much. But then while they're doing this, though, there's this character named Langston Creel, and he like frees one of the sex bots. Her name is Contessa, and she's like the main sex bot, and she realizes that they've been programmed to like do their bodily functions, and she wants to free the other sex bots. So that's why it's Sexbot Uprising. So then she wants to free the sex bots from their life of, I guess you'd say, like slavery in a way. She feels like they're enslaved to their biological functions, that they're just there for pleasure, basically. So I think that was a really interesting concept. The uprising takes place very early in the book. So it's like super quick. It's like first few chapters, it happens, and it's like boom, it's over. And now the sex bots are free, and they're not basically stuck in their they're free from their biology. They don't have to have sex if they don't want to, kind of thing. And now they're free to do whatever they want with their lives, sort of. They don't have to be forced into this job that they've been assigned to. Um, yeah, I would say that's the main thrust of it. There's also a lot of other characters involved. That's the first main general idea. There's another character named Golgato, which he gets involved in the story, which was kind of random, I feel like. It's kind of a weird aside. But he's like a cat character. He's like this hero character that he ends up his main job is supposed to like kill bad people, I guess. He basically made a mistake, right, Adrian? Like he made a mistake that he ended up killing these innocent people, and he got a lot of trouble for it. And he's hoping that by taking part in the Sexbot Uprising and that revolution, that he can like get back his good name, kind of thing, because people are pissed at these sex bots for
That was
causing this
the idea.
uprising on Mars. And so he
Right.
he gets involved in the with the sex. So yeah, so that's kind of the main thrust, if you will, of Sexbot Uprising. And you can add your 2 cents, Adrian, if you want to add anything about the plot
Well,
wise or as far as the
I
main
just want to say
focus.
my opening arguments, Your Honor, are that this book is 477 pages long. So we're talking an almost
Yes,
500-page book. And here's the thing,
yes,
to give him credit, TJ Kirk, the
uh
prose is very accessible, so it's not like flowery
yeah.
prose.
I think
It's
it's very well
very,
written.
very easy
Yeah.
to read and get through. I probably could have
Hmm.
finished this a lot faster if I just read a little bit more than one chapter every day, because I pretty much read like 1 to 2 chapters a day. And like it read so
Uh,
fast that I probably could have read like more than that per day and probably finished it a lot sooner. But um the length it is long, but it's easy and quick to get through.
Yeah.
I would say that my biggest problem
Yeah.
with this book is that first of all, the world building is not great. Like you said, it takes place on
Mm.
Mars, and he mentions it a few
Yeah.
times, but I don't know. I feel like when if
Mhm.
you're gonna do a sci-fi book like this, you need to like be better at describing the world. And a lot of times I was like reading a chapter and I'm like, where are we? I feel like we're in some kind of void. Oh, we're in this room. Oh, we're in this building. Oh, we're in this location. And I'm like, I kind of had to figure that out on my own to like really like understand what was
Okay.
going on.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought he did a good job with locations on Mars, but yeah, like your point of saying like it's actually on Mars, so it's not really driven home. Like it literally mentioned it like three or four times. I was like, oh yeah, we're on Mars. Like he would just throw it out
Yeah,
there and I forgot. But he would have locations like the church was one, like that Church of Key, that key
yeah.
character, that evil like Sexbot, she was involved. There's a place called Bronze Slut
Bronze
Square.
Slut
So that
Square.
was pretty
Yeah,
funny. Bronze Square, you know. So he would come back to certain locations in that, but it did feel like Earth to me, you know, to be honest with you. It didn't feel like there was any reason for it to be on Mars, to be honest, except to make it science fiction,
yeah. And the location
I
didn't really
guess.
add much to the story. I mean, like you think about a book like Red Rising, which is a very popular book that, by the way, I wasn't as big of a fan of, but that book did a
Yeah.
way better job at describing Mars than this book did. And I just needed a little bit better
Okay.
description to really like paint a picture because the
Hmm.
prose, like I said, is very
Okay.
accessible, but it's also like just very straightforward. And if you're going to write prose that
Yeah.
straightforward, like I think you need to do a better job at painting a picture. And then the other thing that I would say that stood out to me right away was that, oh, I thought, oh, Contessa's going to be the main character of the story. And
Yeah.
as you
We
know,
talked about
David,
that
that
while we
didn't
were
really
reading
turn out to
it.
be the case,
Mhm.
right?
Not really, yeah. That's why even on when you asked me to like, give it a quick blurb thing, it's kind of hard because it's like, well, it's supposed to be the Sexbot Uprising, and it does happen, but it's in the first few chapters, and then we follow Golgato
Yeah.
Endings, who's this Catboy character, who he really, it feels like he deserves his own
You
book, you
think
know? So
so?
I
You
kind of
think
feel like TJ
you
was
think
having
he
fun
was
with a
that
lot of
developed
like
that
all
he
the
should get his
cast.
own story? Yeah.
Now, me personally, I
Why
was not a
didn't you
fan of
like him?
Golgato that
I
much.
know
I
why
didn't really
I
care
didn't
about this
like that
cat guy.
character. Why didn't you like that character?
He just seemed kind of, I don't know, he just seemed kind of up. He seemed almost like too perfect in a way. Like he's like a good looking cat boy character. He's super buff,
Right.
he's ripped. And he doesn't really, there didn't seem to be any need for him to be in
Right.
the story, to be honest with you. It was
Right.
really Contessa's story. He's not the
Like
main
I didn't understand
feature
what
of the
his
story,
motivation
so
was.
kind of thrown in.
Like did you tell me
Okay.
because I kept struggling with like what is he trying to achieve here? Golgotto endings.
Yeah, it was mostly. I think it mostly had to do with, like I said, like he killed those innocent. I think they were like innocent women. I forget their name. They had kind of ridiculous names, but he ended up killing these innocent women, and he's this like hero character. And I guess there's this culture, this like it's almost like a pop show series or something where they follow these heroes and they kill bad people. But he ends up killing these innocent, or he ends up killing these. They're bad people, but he probably shouldn't have like killed them, maybe like hurt them a little bit, but he ends up killing them because they were like robbing a store or something like that. And then so a lot of people like turned against him. Like that's his story. And then so to I guess his motivation is that to get the public on his side, he's going to take part in the Sexbot Uprising. And so he's because a lot of people are now pissed with the Sexbots that they have killed other people and they've taken over the district
Yeah.
on Mars, and so he's gonna go there and like stop this revolution or at least impede it in some way. Because he meets with that what was her name? The Boots, the fascist chick or whatever.
Bootsy.
The Bootsy. He was gonna meet with Bootsy, and then she had this whole plan to be like, oh, we're gonna mess up
That
the
was another
Sexbot
character I
Uprising and
had.
stuff like that.
I was
So
not clear on what
yeah,
her
she
motivations
was kind
were.
of thrown into, yeah. Right, right. I feel like those were side characters that were then, especially Golgado was like then
Yeah.
becomes the main character, and it's like, well, this is weird. Yeah, because his motivation to me is like supposed to be like mess the Sexbot Uprising up, and maybe he'll be a hero now, and people will like him
Well,
again.
that's how it starts,
I
but
guess that was
he
kind of
infiltrates the
my
whole
his
uprising
motivation,
movement,
but
I think, and then he like gets caught
yeah.
by Contessa's right hand man.
Hmm.
What was Lapdog? But then like
Oh yeah,
he like
Lapdog,
basically comes out
Lapdog.
and says, "I actually came here to
What's
try
some
and
of the
destroy
names?
your movement, but I actually want to join you because I could be a valuable asset." Yeah, and then
Yeah, he like switched. Right, right. He kind of
so
switched
and
sides because he
Contessa
didn't like
just
the
like
Bootsy, so he kind of switched
she
sides
sort of
there.
like
Yeah.
thinks about it and she's like, "All right."
Yeah, she threatened him at first, and then she's like, okay, whatever,
She
you
wasn't
know.
really fleshed out very
So
well.
there's a couple
And
scenes with her that I liked that I want to talk to you about.
sure,
The early scenes with Contessa and Sorella. I don't know if you remember the Sorella
I
character, the other
remember
sex bot.
Sorella. Yeah.
Yeah, they're very like kind of. I like the introspective scenes a lot, where they're like thinking about their programming. They're like, are we programmed to just have sex and just do this biological function kind of thing?
Yeah.
I like those scenes once they're free because even Sorella that is then she actually considered like entering her life on one of the scenes. And then because she's given this new freedom, and then she's like questioning Contessa, she's like, "Oh, maybe you shouldn't give me this freedom because now I can actually, not do this, and I don't know what to do anymore if you give me this freedom." So I
Yeah.
thought that was a pretty interesting concept. I think I would have liked to seen TJ play with that a little bit more in the book rather than going on the crazy kind of. I don't know. It just became this big action, sex fueled, crazed adventure thing with Golgotha, where he's like attacking and killing everyone. So I don't know. I definitely like the introspective sex bots a lot. And then Contessa too. She had a she had a fond thing for Georgia O'Keeffe, like the red canna painting that she had. Like I think it was like red flowers or something.
Yeah, there was a lot
Next
of
to
callbacks to that,
yeah,
to
Georgia
Georgia
O'Keeffe.
O'Keeffe. I
Hmm.
don't know, like that whole thing felt to me like, oh, the author's trying to be deep here by like giving her this like thing to focus on that like it was like
Yeah.
the whole theme of her story and her movement, but it didn't really land for me. Honestly, I didn't
Mhm.
care. So much of
Yeah.
this story was very forgettable, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
Like, I mean, it was like Contessa had potential, but she was like
Yeah.
sidelined by Golgotto Endings, who was the
Yeah.
main character, but wasn't really that interesting of a character, if I'm being
Yeah.
honest. Like,
Yeah.
you know who was the most interesting character to me was Key or Kai, and that was only
Really.
because she actually like had like a clear motive. Like she was just trying to have her own cult following and stuff,
Yeah, she's
and
trying to get cults. Yeah.
but she wasn't even
Church of Key.
in the story as much as I thought she would be for who
No.
I thought. I mean, you tell me who was the big bad of this story, because I thought it was Key, but it didn't really seem like it in the end.
I think it was Key. Yeah, I think that all the characters are kind of bad in a way. Like no one's really a good guy. That's another problem we can talk about too. Is like maybe no one's really a good guy in this story, so maybe it's kind of hard to latch on to anyone. I think that was kind of the point. Everyone's kind of like an asshole or a sex bot or
Well, not only
you know.
that, David, but this story suffers from that problem that a lot of first writer stories suffer from, where all your characters act and sound very similar. Like there's not a lot of distinction between a lot of the characters in this story. Like
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Contessa would be the most distinguished one out of everybody else, but
Hmm.
like I feel like for me, as I was reading this 477-page novel, everything just kind of blended together, and I
Uh,
was just like going from chapter to chapter, and I was just like, okay, that happened. Okay, that happened. It's like,
hmm.
I don't know. I just didn't feel like
What
there
about
was
what about the
enough
character of
distinction.
Tom? Do you remember Tom at
I
all? He was
barely
the
remember. I don't even. I
his
remember the name. I don't remember what
yeah.
he was or what his deal was.
Yeah, he was like the assistant or friend of Golgato. So he was kind of like he was probably the
Forgettable.
most. He was the most like as far as like a voice, I would say he was the most unique to me. But like I don't
Even
know,
this Langston Creel, which the story spends like a good
hmm
chunk like
couple
building up
chapters.
to
Yeah,
this guy.
yeah,
Even to me, that felt flat. I was like,
yeah.
okay, and why do I care about this?
Yeah.
Like that.
So
That was.
you didn't like the element of mystery and intrigue of Langston Creel. Like he's this weird.
I didn't even get an element of mystery. Like that's what I'm getting at. Like
Yeah.
they built him up, but it didn't have this aura of mystery, like to me anyway. And I
Okay.
don't know. It just tonally, I don't know. Like I think this story had a lot of potential. Like I think it could have been a fun, action-packed story. There is a lot of
A
action
lot
in
of
it,
action,
but
especially
it
towards the
wasn't
end.
very fun. It wasn't
Yeah.
a fun
Yeah,
read.
interesting. So you did not like yeah, so Langston Creel, I want to talk about Langston Creel a little bit. Like what do you think he was? Do you have any idea like what he was or what he was like
He
his
seemed
function
like
was?
he almost seemed like he almost tried to do like a Thanos type of
No,
overarching bad
like a
guy,
villain. Yeah.
but nowhere near as good as Thanos, obviously.
Yeah.
I know like by the end he was kind of super powered, sort of,
Yeah,
right?
he changed or something. He became like the was it like the Legion or something like that?
Something like that.
Yeah, he became some weird, dark, mysterious creature or something, but he still retained the name Langston Creel. I don't know. I just thought of it as like it's sort of like this abyssal creature, like this void like creature that like he's kind of like a god or some kind of ultimate being or something, and then
Yeah.
he's kind of like chaos. I would almost say he feels like to me like the embodiment of chaos, basically. And then he comes in, he makes Contessa free, so Contessa is now more self aware, and she's realizing she's been programmed. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. I like that. I really like the element of Langston Creel. I think he added a nice touch. I wish there was more Langston Creel, more Contessa, and I wish there was like no Golgato endings.
Yeah.
I wish you just got rid of Golgato endings completely, and I think it would have been a better book and make it like shorter and snappier and just right to the sex bots focus. I think would have been
And
tighter for.
like I was saying to you over text, I was saying how this book is called Sexbot Uprising. The
Yeah,
uprising happens like super quick and
yeah.
mostly off camera. And then it's like it's not really it's like who is the uprising against? Like I thought it was going to be against like human overlords, but it ends up being a lot of infighting between different
Right.
sexbot factions. You
Yeah.
have Contessa's faction,
The
you have
Church of
Key's
Key.
faction,
Mhm.
and I think Bootsy has their own faction.
DC has something going on. Yeah.
It was just like so it's like more like a civil war against each other. Like
Yeah, it could have been called Sexbot Civil War.
that would
Maybe
have been a
maybe
better
that's the
title.
sequel. I don't know. Maybe Sexbot
That
Civil
would have
War.
been yeah, that would
Yeah.
have been more clear. I just think it was
I think it's
very
clear.
unfocused.
Yeah, I think it's clear. Like at the beginning when he first wrote the concept down, like he kind of fleshed it out in the first few chapters, and then after that, it was like then he just realized like, oh, I'm with the Sexbots now, so things have to happen, and he
Right.
was like, yeah, I got to fill a whole book, and he just kept going.
A lot of it felt
Yeah,
very first draft. Like this is the first
maybe.
draft
Yeah,
of a
I did notice some.
manuscript.
Yeah, I did notice some typos too. He talked
So did
about on
I.
his
I
a
actually
little bit. It's kind of unfortunate. I was
I
like, oh, there's
actually
some typos.
highlighted a couple of them.
Highlight some. Yeah.
But I want to read
Movies.
you a passage
Oh,
that
yeah.
stood out to
Okay.
me
Sure.
on page 48. So early on,
Okay.
there's literally a passage where someone says, something like this didn't even feel like it was in the realm of possibility. It felt more like the plot of a cheesy sci fi novel with a title like Sexbot Revolt or something.
Sexbot. Okay.
I was like, okay, dude.
He's going
Okay.
meta. He's going meta.
Yeah, like that's like the wink meta
Breaking the fourth
reference. And I'm
wall.
like,
It's wall. Yeah.
you're not big enough of a name in the literary sci-fi sphere to like get
Yeah.
away
Why
with
not?
those kinds of cheeky references. I really like turned. They didn't turn me off, but it did kind of annoy me because I was like, it's not funny, and who are you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, what else? So let's talk about the sex part actually. And I know that
Yeah.
this show is more or less meant to be consumed
PG
by
13.
PG-13. You
We
know,
almost say
I don't know.
PG 13.
I don't know
It's
that
just
anybody
weird.
13 between 13 and 20 is actually even watching us, but that's okay.
That's okay.
Um,
Maybe in the future.
there is a lot of like gratuitous, over the top
Yeah.
sex scenes in this novel, on top of like the scenes of SA. Since I don't want to say the actual term because
Yeah.
internet censors and all that. Um, and none of it did anything for me. I thought it was too much. I think you even said it was too much. I think he really
Mhm.
needed to have toned that down a lot because it didn't add anything to the story. How say you?
I'm very mixed on it because a lot like his channel, a lot like TJ's channel, he's very polarizing because he's very extreme on like maybe some of his views, but just his content, just how he talks and how he is, and like so I knew this book was going to go that way. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to read it was because it was extreme, it was over the top and everything. Um, but yeah, halfway through when you're when you're reading all this, over the top sexual abuse that's happening in the book, and it's very gratuitous, and reader discretion is needed. Yeah, it just kind of loses its. It kind of like at first when you first at least when I first read the first few chapters, I kind of liked it. I was like, okay, this is crazy, this is over the top, let's go, this is ridiculous. But it just kept happening over and over again, and then especially the keys scenes, like she's like way over the top, and she has a lot of abusive things happen with her, and then something happens to Golgata, which is terrible, and other people. So it's just like, oh, all these horrible things that are happening. It's just it's gratuitous just to be gratuitous. It's almost like I view it as like shock writing. It's almost like I'm gonna shock the reader here,
Yeah, it
and
was very
after a
edge
while,
lord coded.
yeah, after a while, you just get shocked and shocked and shocked. It's almost like you're getting zapped with electricity all the time, and you just kind of, after a while, you're just like, you don't even feel it anymore. It's like, all right, this is like we're
Yeah.
going there again. So it kind of loses its. I think it would have had more power if he refrained a little bit from it. I mean, you do expect it from this title, from the cover, from him as an author, but after a while, if he's going for like the high literature stuff, it just loses it because it's just so over the
Well,
top.
this is
So
nowhere
awesome.
near high literature. This is
Yeah,
like
yeah.
this is very
Well, that's what I'm
bottom of the
saying because I
barrel.
think he's trying to go for something like that in elements, certain pieces, but then like when it hits with the other sex bot stuff, then it's like it just loses it. So it's just like
I mean, look, like I'll give you an analogy. Like American Psycho has a lot of violence in it. You know,
yeah,
that's also like a similar length book. But
uh-huh.
whenever he uses violence, and it's very detailed violence,
Hmm.
it hits harder because he sprinkles it throughout. And there's always like the tension of violence. There's always like an air of violence. In this book, I feel like he needed to have like I don't know how you would do it with sex necessarily, but like
Yeah,
he used it so much that you become desensitized to it right away, and it just doesn't hit the same as I think he
yeah,
expected it to.
okay.
It was too much. It was, and
Yeah,
I'm not a
I
prude
agree.
by any means, by the way. I don't, I don't really care, sex or not,
Yeah,
in a
yeah,
story. But
yeah, for
this
sure.
book, it was way over the top.
Yeah, yeah, definitely a detractor for some people. I know for me, it just kind of lost its luster after a while. So. I do have a cool quote that I wanted to talk about a little bit because this has to do with this was definitely like the big theme of the book, at least for me. One of the big themes was just of like awareness and consciousness. Like I believe he talked about how like the sex bots like they realize that they've just been programmed to do this act over and over again, and when they awaken, especially like Sorella, she kind of has some interesting quotes that I wanted to share. So she says on page 122, "You flung open my cage and called it liberation." So I kind of like that quote. I thought that was a cool quote. Yeah, so I don't know. Do you want to add anything to it, Adrian, about like what did you think that theme of are we free or not free? Or are we just like slaves to our like desires or baser desires? Like, what do you think? Was there enough of that in here in the book? Did you do a good job of fleshing that out, or not so much?
Not really, because if you watch a
Okay.
show like Westworld, and like those characters are sex bots, basically. Like
Yeah.
they're there to fulfill the pleasures of the human clientele, right?
Yeah.
That story did a better job at like fleshing out those characters. And by the way, that was in a way its own Sexbot Uprising, right? At least the first season was. It was the
First
beginnings
season.
of an
Yeah.
uprising,
Hmm. Hmm.
and those characters were better fleshed out. And in this book, it just I don't know, it just didn't feel serious enough. I don't know. It just didn't feel like he was really taking it. To me, I didn't really take any of it seriously. I just thought it was
Okay.
kind of I don't know, it was very surface level,
Do you think the fact that it was packed in with like so much sex over here and so much violence that it just anytime he tried to like make it deeper, it just was
I
like
thought it was a combination of that and also just like how unfocused the whole story felt. I mean, there are some good lines. I highlight, like, for example, on page
yeah,
76, I highlighted, she was designed to mimic humanity, not experience it. Like, that's a great line. That's a great, like, line that kind of is like, that should have been part of the theme of the story. But I feel like that got really muddled throughout
okay,
because that is basically your whole thesis, right? And the execution of that was just not great for me. There was another one. What did I highlight? A painter paints so that they can see themselves on the canvas. Like these are good lines, right?
yeah,
But I was like, let's explore that more. And then
uh,
and then I feel like around the time when it stopped being interesting for me was when Golgado endings kind of entered the picture. And he was like, and then I thought, oh, he's gonna like infiltrate them and then do
yeah.
his whole thing, but that comes and goes super quick, and he joins before you know it. He
Yeah, he
joins,
kind of flipped sides, yeah.
yeah, and
And then he gets with Sorella too, which I was like, okay, it's just an excuse to have more sex, basically. Like, all right, as if we don't have enough of that. I was like, all right, you know.
yeah,
Um,
and that was the thing. Like, why did they want to have more sex? Was it because that's why they're pre-programmed because they're sex bots, or was it like free will? I feel like they were gonna explore that theme a little bit, but I don't know that they
yeah,
really did much of that.
yeah. Because also he chose to have Sorella basically be his girl, and she's the one that was questioning her own existence and like why she even doing it, and now she's just hanging with Golgado, and they're doing the deed, and like it's like okay, like I thought she was questioning her own existence, and now she's just hanging out with Golgado, and she likes him just like anything else, like. So I don't know. I feel like maybe he answered his own question with, "Are we just pre-programmed?" And it's like it's pretty obvious that even if you become fully aware that we're just these organic beings with these primitive desires, that's kind of it. Like we're still enslaved by our desires. That's kind of what it felt like to me. Um, there's a couple other cool ideas. I think one thing I like about TJ though, I could tell he's a very creative, like chaotic mind, and like sometimes like you said, like he didn't do great with the backstory. I agree with the Mars thing, but I still like his settings and stuff. And once in a while he'll throw out a name or throw out an idea that I really liked, and like one of them was on page 380 towards the end of the book. He threw out there was a term that I liked. He called it the nihilist king. He said back, I think it was back in the pre-Earth, like in the old Earth days, there was this character called the Nihilist King, and he doesn't mention him again or anything. But I like that kind of name. I was like, oh, that's kind of a cool idea, Nihilist King. Like, so I would like sometimes he'll throw an idea or a possibility that I really liked. That I was like, oh, if he explores that idea, that'd be really cool. He should write a book on the Nihilist King. I'd like to hear that story. Oh, there's a couple other lines in here I want to share. So on page 314, it said, "This realm of death was not a vacuum; it was a sea of possibilities, a complex tapestry." Page 42, "You obtain that which is beautiful as a means to compensate for your own ugliness." That was a good
Who
one.
said who said that line?
Actually, I don't know who said that, but I think I have to look at it. I think that was in reference to, it was early on. I think that was in reference to, I think it was Contessa, because I think someone, I don't think it was Lapdog. I think it was someone had come to see Contessa and she was looking at the red canna. And so she was looking at the Georgia O'Keeffe painting. And so, do
Yeah,
you
and
obtain something beautiful as a mean to compensate for your own ugliness?
up to that point, I thought Contessa is actually an interesting character.
Yes.
I wish
She's the best character.
she was given more to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
I
she's like
agree.
what, a 9 foot tall
She's
sex
9 foot. Oh yeah, by the way, she's 9 feet tall. She kind of,
dominatrix.
it was so
Yeah.
ridiculous and over the top. I was like, okay, we're going there.
He should
Yeah.
have leaned into that character more. You know what it should have been, David? It should have been her versus Golgado endings. Like that should have been the
Yeah.
real conflict between those two
Yeah.
characters. I think that
Yeah.
would have worked better than what we ended up. Which, by the way, like I don't even know, like what was Langston Creel's motivation? I was not clear on that either. I wasn't clear on a lot
I don't
of.
think we're supposed to know his motivation. He's just what was he like, the king of sorrows, chaos, or what? I consider him like a god of chaos. And he throws. He kept saying like I throw my sorrows onto people or something like that. Like they feel my pain, they feel these sorrows or whatever. And if they can live with it, then they end up dealing a lot of pain to people. Something like that. But yeah, I consider him like a god of chaos. That was kind of what I consider him to be. But I like the character, so maybe I'm just a big weirdo like TJ or something. I don't know. And I have some other quotes here that I think see. I do have something here. It says with Sorella, it says the thing that she was not quite so sure of was sex for pleasure or sex a prison, even when liberated. And yeah, just the idea that they still have the urge. It's kind of like when hunger or for food or for sex or for sleep, we have these urges. They're going to come up. Are we free? Are we not free? The idea of free will. Actually, that's an interesting idea, AJ. I want to ask you: do you think we have free will?
Yes,
So, we do have free will.
we absolutely have free will. Why would you think we don't have free will?
Why would I think that we don't have free will?
You can do anything you want right now. You could go outside and take your clothes off and paint yourself with peanut butter, cover yourself in peanut
Wow.
butter and let a horse
Again,
lick it all off your body. I mean, nothing is stopping you from doing whatever you want, really.
should write that in a book.
That's why we have laws and stuff in place, right? To
Okay,
prevent
well,
people
okay.
from doing crazy
So
things.
what you just said, so you can go outside right now and strip naked if you want. Why
Yeah,
don't you do that?
you could do it. You probably get
Why don't you do that,
arrested,
AJ?
but
Why don't you do that?
well, that's what I'm saying. Like we do have free will, but we have to stop ourselves from not doing just whatever we want, right? Because law and order and all that
Yeah.
jazz. To
Okay,
a certain point.
I would argue it's hard for me to say. I'm not really even interested. Like it's kind of funny. It's like it's a philosophy question. I'm actually personally not that interested in that question. A lot of people are like, "Oh, do you have free will? Do you not have free will?" I'm like, I don't really care. I'm very neutral on it. I don't care. But I would say that because like you said that, oh, go outside, strip naked. It's like, well, you can't become a dragon or something, or like, why don't you become like, you don't have that free will. We can just think about it, write about it, put it in a game, but we're still just human.
Right.
So you're very limited. So we have like a limited will, if you will.
These are all great concepts, but for a novel like this, I mean, I don't know that they would work because he wasn't going for like this deep, I don't know, philosophical tone. Like I
Uh-huh.
could tell there was like moments throughout the story where he was trying to like insert his own like musings about philosophy and stuff. But
Just
it
didn't
just felt
hit
like,
for
oh,
you.
this is just him just musing. Like this is just the author's opinions on stuff that he's like wedging like into the book, into the
Mhm.
story. And like you have characters ruminating about, like Contessa ruminates about some of this, and I forget which chapter. And I was like, okay, so clearly they're gonna do something with this theme and her, like, think pondering all this stuff, but they never
Yeah.
really do in a way that I thought was compelling or satisfying or even funny. You know,
Okay. All right.
that's just how that's how it came across to me. I was just like,
Yeah.
you know,
For me, I kind of felt like this book reminded me of in my Amazon review. I put it down, but I said it kind of reminded me of Sin City. When remember when the prostitutes take over Old Town?
it's
I
been a
had that
while.
image.
It's been a
Okay,
while since I've
I
seen Sin
had
City.
I had the image of Rosario Dawson taking over the Old Town and like all the prostitutes, and they're all like killers. And I was like, oh, that's a cool idea. So like that was another image that was in my head when I got the book and I saw the cool cover and like the hot chicks and everything. So, oh, they're gonna take over, the world, and they're gonna be like should be like a new queen or something. So I thought he had envisioned. For me, I was thinking along the lines of Sin City.
That's a good
Maybe it
parallel.
could maybe it could have been better if he really focused on that because I think he really has something there with like the sex bots taking over. But like I said, he chose to kind of like put it on off camera or, to the side. And then it's already the uprising happens. And then here we are, Contessa's in control. And, yeah, then we got like a city of other slave. Now basically the roles reversed where the humans were the slaves to the sex bots now, to their urges. So, yeah. But I thought it could have been done a little bit better. But I was definitely reminded of Sin City, so in that way I liked it. I was like, oh, this is like Sin City, so I was kind of excited. So I
I
didn't
mean,
feel
what did you like the most about this book, and what did you like the least about this book? I'm curious
well.
now.
I probably Contessa and Sorella, like I was talking about. I liked the action. I thought the action was pretty solid. I do like the writing as well. You said it wasn't as descriptive, but I don't know. You said it reads easily, and definitely got that sense. Like
It does.
I blew through this book pretty fast, like in like I don't
Right.
know 3 weeks or something. It is a large book, but I don't know. The writing is really solid, really quick. I really did like Langston Creel a lot. I know you didn't like him, but I just like the fact there's this mysterious weirdo character that we have
Well,
no
I
idea.
didn't like him or not like him. He was barely in the damn thing, so
Yeah,
it's hard
yeah,
to like or not like someone that's barely in the story.
yeah. But I like the concept, I like the idea of a god of chaos. I just thought it was kind of cool to. I don't know. I
Yeah.
like that. I like that he's not known too, because like if you, it's almost like it's almost like in the Dark Knight, if you have like the Joker character and you reveal the Joker too much, like Heath Ledger's not in the Dark Knight that much. He's
Yeah.
definitely in the movie, but he doesn't have a lot of screen time. I kind of felt the same with Langston Creel. Like he's a god of chaos, you shouldn't show him that much, and it's not his story, but he's impacting it off screen.
Well, it's interesting you bring up the
I like those
Joker.
characters.
You think about like Batman and Robin, right? Batman and Robin was over the top. Like it was
Mhm.
so campy and dumb.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, wait a minute, like Batman Forever was campy to a point, but Jim Carrey gives a great performance, Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah.
There's a certain like there's a certain emotional theme that Bruce Wayne Batman goes through. And then you think, oh, he's gonna carry that into the fourth movie. And then he has the bat nipple suit and he has like all these ice
Oh
puns
yeah.
and all these other cheesy camp like I feel like this book was like started off kind of like Batman Forever and then quickly like devolved into like Batman and Robin territory.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So you felt it just became way too cheesy and over the top and ridiculous.
Yeah, it was over the top. I said it in my review.
So
I
how?
did write a
Okay,
review
so
about
here's
this.
here's here's yeah, here's a follow up question to you. Like, so I brought up Sin City, like the old town. Like, how do
Yeah.
you think he could have made this book better or more like a Sin City, more like a serious treatment of like maybe an over the top topic? Like,
I
how
would
could he
have
have?
had I would have developed and fleshed out Contessa more, and I would
Okay.
have made it more clear like what is her motivation, what is she trying to accomplish, what's going to stand in her way, like what obstacles are going to prevent her from accomplishing her goal, and then I would have had Golgado endings being like the big bad, that is the major source of conflict for her. And I would have basically just fleshed all that out more. That way, when you have that, like, because there's like a big battle towards like the third act of the book, I believe it was. Mm-hmm. That battle also, by the way, came and went so quickly. And I feel like it would have hit harder if like the stakes were higher for both sides, for Golgato's side and for Contessa's side. I think it would have landed better. So I just would have fleshed her out more, man. I would have had her in the story way more. Like, she should have been the protagonist. Instead, what we got was him introducing a new character like every other chapter. And I'm like, I can't keep up with all these characters, especially when they're not even fleshed out and they're all sounding and seeming, like the same.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that was my biggest issue with it, was like, how are you going to write a 477 page book and like so much of it is forgettable? Like, it was really forgettable.
So you think you would not have gone the ensemble cast approach?
No.
All the characters that he threw in there.
Ensemble's hard to, it's tricky because every character has to be distinctive, like I said. Mm-hmm. If you're going to have all these characters, they need to all stand out in a very unique, interesting way. And he tried to do that and he didn't pull it off. Like, they just, aside from Contessa, and I'll say Golgato, he was pretty fleshed out, more so than Contessa. The rest of the cast of characters weren't fleshed out well. They just weren't. They were just kind of there, and they served the plot when they needed to, and that was it. Lapdog was an interesting character that was Contessa's, like, right-hand man or whatever. I thought he was going to have, like, a big arc. I thought he was going to, like, turn against Contessa in a big way at some point, and he did turn against her.
Kind of did for a moment.
But it happened quick. Like, everything happens quick in this story.
Yeah.
Like, it comes and goes quick. And I just need it, like, give me a little bit more, flesh things out more. Yeah. So.
And then, she chops off his, part of his
anatomy.
Right? Anatomy.
As punishment.
As punishment. And then later on, what was it, like, was it Piggy or something? Like, was it his, like, manhood or something that attaches to Lapdog or something? So ridiculous, like, talk about over the top ridiculous,
I mean, how old is TJ Kirk that he was writing some of this stuff? Like, this felt like it was an edgy 13-year-old writing.
Yeah, I think he's like 40. He's around.
He's like a 40. He's our age. He's like an old man writing about stuff that I would write when I was like 15.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's funny because he has a big member.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's obviously, it's very immature in some parts, for sure. But yeah, like, it's funny because, like, even though that idea is kind of, silly and kind of dumb at the same time, it's also like, I can tell, like, I think he needs to go in a different route with if he wants to continue writing and, being an author and everything. Like, he needs to go away from, like, the Sexbot stuff, like, stop, this immature sex stuff. But of course,
and he's not going to. This is the first of a series, because at the very end it says
first of a series,
that there's going to be another book, and I'm like, I ain't continuing with this series. I'll tell you that right now.
That was the thing too. Like, the way the book ended was pretty. I thought that was, like, one of its weaker points. I know you didn't seem to enjoy the book too much, Adrian, but for me, that was one of the weaker points too. Was like the ending. It felt pretty wrapped up at that point because the Sexbot revolution is done, the uprising is done. Most of the Sexbots are gone or killed off or whatever in this revolution, this battle they had with, like, the fascists, like the Bootsy people and other forces that came on and attacked them. And so, like, you basically had Contessa left. Then you had Sorella, and I think was there another Sexbot at the end that survived? I forget.
I don't remember.
I don't know if Key survived. No, Key was defeated, I believe.
Key was defeated, yeah.
Yeah.
That was actually interesting. That was that chapter where she fights, to me, was, again, because I liked that character. I thought, she's like a formidable opponent, and she's a pretty threatening presence, and she pretty much she doesn't destroy, but she fights with Golgato. Because we should talk about how Golgato has this magical guitar thing, and he uses a thing called the Quan or the Kwanzaa or something.
Yeah, that was kind of fleshed. The Kwanzaa,
which is like, it's like his version of the Force, basically. I was like, he's doing his version of the Force, right?
See, that was fleshed out. That was fleshed out. And he had, like, all his powers and stuff like that.
He uses this guitar. He can, like, trigger the Sexbots to have orgasms or something with it. And then the plan is for him to go defeat Kai by doing that. But then the tables quickly turn, and she let's just say has her way with
Has her way
him.
with him. Yes, yes.
Yeah, to
And
phrase it
traumatizes
lightly.
him. Yeah,
And then they have a rematch towards the end, and I think he
yeah.
defeats her,
He
right?
defeats her. Yeah, yeah.
That was great. Like that worked for me. But
Okay.
again, like Key wasn't set up as a big enough villain to really like matter that much. Like it was kind of fun, but it didn't really matter to the overall
Mhm.
story. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
So
Yeah, I understand.
I thought that was interesting. I thought she was interesting
Mm.
as a character, but she's only in it for she's kind of sprinkled throughout like the latter half of the book, if I
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
correctly. Yeah.
yeah. Maybe towards halfway. Yeah, I did not like Key that much. She was such a terrible character. So I mean, terrible in the what she did, her acts. I mean, you're saying that she was fleshed out in the sense that she did more things. And you could see her
Yeah,
or
and
her character a little bit more. You understood why
yeah,
she was doing what she was doing.
yeah. I thought she would end up being the big bad or something,
Yeah,
but that never came to pass as much. I think
yeah.
I don't know. I don't even like I said. I don't even know who the big bad really was. I guess it was Langston Creel at the in the end.
Yeah, it has to be between Langston and Key.
That's not a good sign when you can't point to who is the bad guy in a story. You know what I
All
mean?
kind of bad in a way.
Like imagine if you watch Star Wars and Darth Vader shows up in the first like 30 minutes of the movie and then we never see him again.
Yeah.
You know? Like that would be weird, right? Like a movie has to have a story has to have a clearly defined bad guy.
I was okay with that because
If
he's the
you
god
can't
of
point at a
chaos.
character and say that's the bad guy, your story
Yeah,
has a problem, I think.
yeah. I mean, I think just because he's the god of chaos, I think it was okay. So like maybe in that case we could go with like Key or something would have been that presence that
Yeah. Who's
more
the
throughout.
bad guy in Project Red Planet?
The bad guy in Project Red Planet, Big Brother.
See, there you go.
Yeah,
See. It took you a second, but you nailed it, right? Like you were able to
yeah,
say. And
yeah.
that who's the good guy? Obviously, it's your I forget his
It's
name.
Neil, maybe Neil.
Neil. Neil's your good guy. Who's the
Yeah.
wacky sidekick? It's the German guy,
Well,
whatever his
yeah,
name was.
it's Von Geiger, and it's also
Von
Orc.
Geiger.
Yeah.
Look at that. Like your story was written and more fleshed out than this one. And this guy. I don't know how long it took him to write this story. I mean, I don't know if you have more context on that, but
I think it
um,
took him a couple, 2 or 3 years, I believe it was. Yeah, because he announced it like I think he announced it like I want to say 3 years ago, something like that.
yeah.
He had it on his channel. It took him about a few years at
Yeah, because
least
you asked me, oh, did you like this better or worse than my
than
book,
Project Red Planet.
Project
My
Red
book.
Planet? And I said, no, I liked your book better because your book was fun and entertaining. This book had some fun and entertaining like moments sprinkled throughout, but a lot of it was just, I don't know, a lot of it just was just very forgettable, which is crazy when it's almost 500 pages long, David. Like 500 pages.
Yeah, yeah. It
I
was.
got to give him credit.
Although, what's kind of interesting, I told you this too, like, but Project Red Planet, my book, is actually almost the same exact length of
Yeah.
Sexbot Uprising, which is kind of crazy.
I remember your book better, even though I finished it like what, a year ago at this point.
It's
I
been a
remember
while.
your book better than I do this book, and I just finished this book like a week ago.
Okay.
So I think that tells you something. So that tells you something about your own strengths as a writer, you
I
know?
guess, yeah.
So think of it like that. So,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
I want to be clear. I don't hate this book. I know what books I hate. I don't hate this book. I hate that you made me read it.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. You know what? It's fine, right? Because
Yeah.
I think I've talked about this book ad nauseum at this point. Fractal Noise. Like I read Fractal
Yes.
Noise.
Yeah.
It's a
You talked
short
about
book,
background noise. Yeah. Yeah.
and that book pissed me off so much because I read his other book by the same author, To Sleep in a Sea of Stars. Which, by the way, if you've never read To Sleep in a Sea of Stars, it's great. It's a
Okay.
space trotting fantasy. It's so good. It's like a sci-fi fantasy. And that same guy, that same author, Christopher Poloni, I believe his name is,
Hmm.
he writes a shorter book called Fractal Noise, which is in the same universe, but it takes place before
I
To
don't
Sleep
love
in a
that
Sea of
title.
Stars.
Yeah, the title just doesn't sound
And I
very good.
hated it because it was just so like I hated all the characters. I hated the story. It pissed me off. I was clear about why I hated it. This book, I'm not clear about why
Not
I
clear
don't like
about
it
it.
as much. Like, you know what I mean? I'm still sort of like marinating in why I didn't really
Well, you
enjoy
said it
this
wasn't
book.
as memorable as you were hoping for. The
Mm,
characters weren't fleshed out as much.
yeah.
Descriptions were lacking, especially in the setting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely a problem. I don't know. I still enjoyed it. I thought it was
And
ridiculous.
that's
I thought it was over
good.
the
That's
top. I
good that
liked
you
the
enjoyed it.
writing.
Right.
Yeah, like we said though, like the sex, sexy bits for me, way over the top, probably way too much. Especially, I know TJ's very creative, and I know he could do a really good deep dive on these characters. But when you sprinkle in the ridiculous, over the top, sex scenes, it just loses that so much, and you're back into the okay, we gotta go to the immature thing. We gotta go this. Okay, this joke, this has been said 1,000 times. Okay, okay, it's just like yeah, it
Yeah.
just loses that impact that he's going for. It gets lost in the shuffle of all this like unnecessary immature stuff.
I think it's great that you enjoyed it. There's no right or wrong way to enjoy something, and you're not right or wrong if you did or did not enjoy something.
Yeah,
What I will say is that, he might be a great YouTuber. I've never seen his stuff, if I'm being honest. But just because you're good at one thing, you might not necessarily be good at another. You know what I mean? Maybe writing
yeah,
novels is not his calling. Maybe this would have worked better as like a graphic novel. Because it is, I will
actually,
say, to
sure.
give the book a little bit more credit, it is a visual book at times. Like I
Yeah,
could see it as like a graphic novel, especially Contessa. I mean, the cover is great. I
maybe
don't know
there's
who made the
yeah.
art.
Oh yeah,
The
like
cover is fantastic, actually.
I'm gonna cover up her bottom
Yeah,
part.
yeah, there you go. Like I could see it as a graphic novel.
Right.
Because graphic novels, I feel like you can get away with like not having as much clear cut like story and characters.
Yeah.
And in a lot of cases, did you ever read the book? Did you ever read the graphic novel Black Hole, David?
No, I did not read Black
I
Hole.
recommend it. It's really good. It's kind of a minimalistic story, but it's like very, I don't know how to describe it. You have to just read it. And if you read it, I could almost see this book in that style, but like a little bit funnier, you know?
Yeah.
Like, cause that book is like got some dark subject matter, but it's really good. And maybe this would have worked better as a graphic novel or a comic series. I don't know. I think just for me as a
Feel
novel, it
yeah,
didn't
I
work,
think that's probably a good idea. Like a graphic novel seems to be like the place that the media that this would really be good on,
Exactly.
visual. I think having a more focus on the visual and the artistic elements would be really good. To wrap up on the ending though, the fact that this is gonna have a sequel, it's called it's even called something completely different apparently. Like I don't know if he's actually gonna. I assume he's actually gonna write or gonna work on it at some point.
I forgot what it said.
It's called Planet Golgato and Company will return in Planet of the Vor Bunnies. So, so we're gonna go to another planet of some bunnies or something, and Golgato will be there.
Do you know what vor is, by the way?
I actually don't know what Vor is.
So I can explain it to you. Basically, it's
Good.
it's it's a fetish, it's a kink where the kink is that you imagine yourself being eaten by a large creature or person. So it's like a weird like
Like a fetish thing,
yeah, where you're being
eaten alive.
consumed by like a large person.
All right.
Which falls in line with like the style of this book. So like
Of
as soon as
course.
I saw Vor, I was like, I'm not surprised that's what he's going for
Yeah,
next.
for sure. But yeah, Planet of the Vor Bunnies. So it's like, and even like the ending, and he has like a picture of Golgato at the end, and it kind of just like, oh, we're gonna follow Golgato. It's like I don't really care about Golgato. Like
Yeah.
that's already what I was thinking. It's like I'd rather have Contessa. Like I want to follow Contessa. I'm more interested in her.
So yeah,
So
let me give you the quick definition.
okay,
It's a fantasy or fetish characterized by the erotic desire to consume or be consumed by another person or creature because it is physically impossible. It is exclusively expressed through imagination, art, or writing. So yeah,
okay, interesting. All right.
yeah.
But yeah, so like I
There's a whole
guess
subreddit to it.
oh, I imagine. But yeah, so like they're gonna go to like other planets and they're gonna travel together. It's Golgata, it's Contessa, Sorella, Tom is there, a few other characters, and they're all gonna travel to like another planet or something, and it's not gonna be at all connected with this uprising because most of the sex bots are gone. And so I was like, I was disappointed with that because I thought the arc, I thought if he was going for a trilogy, it would be like, oh, Sexbot Uprising, then there'd be like a, Civil War thing, then there'd be like a revolution or something like I thought that was gonna be the arc. And then now it's just like, no, we're just going on another planet with a few sex bots. And I was like, okay. So now it's just gonna be I don't know. I feel like it's clear he doesn't really know where it's going, which to be fair is fine if you're writing, because not you're not gonna know the ending of every, sometimes people write in sequence, and that's obviously what happened here, and that's fine. But for me it's just we got into Sexbot Uprising, and now there's not going to be any new sex bots. We're actually going to be stuck with more with Golgato, and we agreed that Golgato is probably like he's not our favorite character in the book, and it's like we have to follow him again. Like, okay, I'm not really that interested in going in this direction, but okay.
And well, here's the thing. I think that if he like, because by the way, Kirk or TJ Kirk seems like he's a pantser, not a plotter. This book does not feel like it would have been
Yeah,
outlined. It feels like he just wrote it off the cuff, which is fine.
yeah.
That
I'm a
works for some people.
yeah, I'm a pantser. Yeah,
There you
for
go.
sure.
See, and look at you. Look what it's done to you. No, I'm just kidding.
What
But
has it
but but
done?
but what could
Yes.
happen is potentially if he locks in and outlines some basic outline structure and keeps the keeps it short, like I'm talking about the half the length of this book,
200,
I think he could
pages.
potentially have like an interesting series on his hands. You know,
Okay.
he just needs to world build better, and he needs to keep it short. Don't overstay your welcome. Have a clear good guy, bad guy, and a theme for your story arc. And I think there's potential there. I'm not going to read it. Maybe you'll read it. You can tell me about it later.
Maybe
But
I'll let you know how if
there's
he's
always potential. You know what I
yes.
mean?
I will be biased because like maybe I'm biased on it too because I like I generally like his YouTube channel. I've been watching his content for a while, so
Yeah.
I knew I expected to like it and I did enjoy it. Even if I don't like Elgato, I still enjoyed a lot of parts and elements to it. But yeah, I had fun with it. So it was a ridiculous ride. So also it reminded me of speaking of graphic novels. It also reminded me of Saga. Have you ever read Saga, the
No.
crazy epic? There's a lot of sex in that one too, and that one has a lot of big themes of like war and there's aliens and
Is
lots of
this
planets.
also it's like a sci-fi?
It's sci-fi. Yeah, there's aliens. There's like this character. He has like a TV head, and he's like I forget. He's like a baron. He has a TV head, but he's a human and he's like a rich baron and there's like aliens and yeah, it reminded me of that book with just like the chaotic elements of it and kind of like this weird stew and ensemble cast coming together and there's a big adventure. So maybe he's going for like that route where like they're gonna go out in space and have a crazy adventure somewhere. So
Yeah.
you
It
know,
sounds like
graphic novel seems to fit, in some ways.
yeah, it sounds like a space opera type of story,
Yeah.
and the direction of the next book could be that as well. I like a good space opera. I feel like if you combine that with like a found family element, like To Sleep in a Sea of Stars, that for me is a fun. There's potential there.
Mhm.
So we'll see, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, for sure. Maybe we'll get more. Maybe if Langston Creel shows up, maybe he'll be more fleshed out as like a bad guy, like a Darth Vader, like you said. Like, don't get rid
Darth
of your.
Vader or the Emperor, he could be the Sauron
Yeah.
or the Saruman of
Oh yeah,
this
sorry.
world.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know.
Could be Lord of the Rings. Yeah, for
So,
sure.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So what's
Well,
next for
you
you,
wanna,
David?
as far as books, my next book.
As far as life, my friend, what's
As far
next
as
for
life.
David Cardoso in life?
Yeah, continue to work on my YouTube channel. So yeah, I got my YouTube channel, Professor Pixel. I'll still be doing that. Probably gonna be focusing on shorts mostly. So, but yeah, as far as on this channel, I don't know what we want to read next, Adrian. We'll have to decide what we're doing next time for
I'm
science
reading.
fiction.
I'm reading now that I finished this book, because I was prioritizing this book, and then I started reading Blind Sight, which I don't know if you've ever heard of Blind Sight. It's a sci-fi. It's considered a really great sci-fi novel. And then I'm also reading like the Don Rickles biography, which I need to finish because I started that forever ago. I'm also reading another. What is it called? Let me pull it up really quick. By the way, have you joined Fable? You should join Fable. By the way, I
I have
recommend it.
not.
I started Breakfast of Champions since we talked about
Vonnegut.
Vonnegut.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about Slaughterhouse Five, and now I'm reading. I started another sci-fi book, which so far I'm enjoying. I started a novel called Artificial Wisdom, which is about this like in a world where like this AI becomes like the front runner for like a political nomination, political office or whatever, and there's like some like kind of murder mystery subplot. It's interesting so far. I barely started it, but
Okay.
yeah. And if none of those sound interesting for our next read, we could decide on something else. So
Yeah. 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 I'll let you know. Yeah, we'll figure that out in the meantime on the show. So yeah. Anything else you want to say about Sexbot Uprising while we finish up here? We left
no,
our
that's
reviews on Amazon, so check out our reviews up on there as well. And
yeah. I posted my review on Amazon and Goodreads. My Amazon one is a short blurb. My one on Goodreads is a little bit longer.
okay.
Can I read? Can I read you? I found the
Yes,
one
I saw
review.
I saw your review. I was like, oh man, he's going to town. I was like,
Yeah, and this one kind of validates that because this is on
All right.
Storygraph. It's the one review
Here
I
we
found
go.
on Storygraph.
Here we go.
I'm having to shade my face because like my window faces the street, so like a lot of glare from the
Really
cars.
white. Yeah.
Every character is an oversexed caricature with the emotional range of a sock puppet. And every description is sexual. Everything is sexual. Even the sex bots who have gained sentience and freedom continue to revolve their experiences around sex. It's exhausting. The only sex bot who questions it is a quick philosophical moment before we are back into it. I love the premise, but if I wanted to read about sex, I just go and read a romance novel and have it well.
All right.
I thought
Fair
that
enough.
was funny.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So there you go, David. But
Yeah.
yeah, follow me on TikTok at Books Too Big. Follow my podcast, the Never Seen It podcast, all across all the socials. And yeah, David, anything you want to plug before we go?
Before we go, are you gonna watch Backrooms, or have you watched Backrooms
I've
yet?
already seen Backrooms, and
Never seen
we
Backrooms.
just
I need
recorded
to
an
watch
episode
it.
about it.
I'll record an episode about it. Okay. I do
Yes,
want to appear
sir.
on your podcast at some point, so but I'll give you my opinion on Backrooms when I watch it. Okay,
You should do what's it called? Obsession. Because I really want to do Obsession on the show. And
Okay.
as a fellow divorced man, I think you might appreciate Obsession, David. So
Okay. Well,
you just
it's been a minute.
it has nothing to do with divorce, by the way. It has nothing to do with divorce. But it does involve like, it does revolve around relationship dynamics to a very extreme manner. And it's
Okay.
like the hot movie right now. It's really good. I highly recommend it. So
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So I guess that's the show. Watch me on Professor Pixel on YouTube, and yeah, we'll come up here with more science fiction goodness next time. So.
alrighty.